Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Veterans Growing America podcast. I am Coach RL Simmons. I'm here with my illustrious co-host, Donnell Johns, and we have another special guest for you today. So I'm going to break this down because she's a big deal, right? So we have Dr. Ariel Jordan. She is an author. She is also an Army veteran, go Army, but she is the founder and CEO of Mindset Quality, and I am super excited to have her on today. How you doing, young lady?
Great. Thank you for the warm welcome, both of you. I appreciate that.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Doctor, it is so good to have you on the podcast finally. I know you. My audience wants to know you. Can you share a little bit about how you're connected to the military and a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, so I'm connected to the military. I'm an Army vet. I joined the Army when I was 17. I was young, had to get my parents' permission to go and all that good stuff. And I stayed in until 2017. And so I switched to reserves during my time. And so I got to experience both. Yeah, so that's a little bit about my Army background. I was a culinary specialist when I was in the Army. So I got to feed people and make people happy in that way. Because when it's child time, there's a little bit of a lightening of the day. Now I'm a therapist and I feel like I do the same thing in a different way to where like I help veterans, first responders and leaders redefine their resilience and step into their post-traumatic growth. So we talk a lot about post-traumatic stress and we talk about it in a way that it changes the brain, but we don't talk about how like post-traumatic growth does the same thing. And so I try to highlight like the healing part of life through like therapy, speaking, and training and things like that.
I love that. So you have this complete different dynamic of where you were as a veteran to where you are now. But tell me a little bit about, if applicable, how did your military experience influence your journey into entrepreneurship?
It's so interesting because I don't think I ever really planned the entrepreneurship part, but I think the military is the backbone of it. And I mean that by like the skills that you learn, the discipline that you learn, the things that are easy for maybe somebody who's been through the service versus somebody who hasn't, like letting stuff roll off your back and just certain skills that you don't think are skills until later. Then it's like, I needed that so that I could do this. So I think that the military kind of lays the foundation of like discipline and being tough mentally, physically, and all of that, having that endurance that you need for your business to be successful. Because if you don't have that, then you'll never grow through all the things that you need to grow through.
I love that you said grow through. That's one of the reasons I have Veterans Growing America, because in entrepreneurship, you have to grow through some things in order to make it to the next level.
Absolutely.
Can you tell me what the inspiration behind starting your own business, like what inspired you to start your company?
When I was in the service, I don't think I got a lot of support through the mental things that I experienced through like the loss of my daughter, the loss of my father, going through a divorce. And there was so much grief that I experienced. I had to become who I needed. And during that time period, I was like, let me learn about healing because nobody's teaching us how do we get through when life gut punches you over and over again. And so I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to learn. And I just put everything into learning. And after a lot of work being done behind the scenes, I decided that I want to create my own thing. So I had some background working in substance abuse, working at Walter Reed. So I got a little military hospital experience and then working with trauma. And I realized I really want to help people in this aspect because we tend to adapt because I have trauma or because I've been through hard things that nothing will ever change. And it's not true. So I want to model that for them. Hey, I've been through hard things too. And actually some of the worst that you can think of. And here we are now. So, that growth is embedded throughout the whole process. And that's what inspired me to do. Because I'm like, if I work for myself, I can create whatever I want to create. I just have to learn the management part and the technician part. And that's kind of like all the story behind it. And then it continues to develop as we go.
Tell us about the unique proposition of mindset quality? What can people expect when they say, hey, I want to give my money to mindset quality? What can they expect?
So for me, the way that I structure mindset quality, I created mission redefine. So my mission behind mission redefine is that we redefine what resilience looks like. And so underneath of that umbrella, there are retreats, there are EMDR groups, which is like trauma processing groups, and leadership programs. So when you think of mindset quality, then you think of what can I get? I want people to think about that post-traumatic growth. It all goes back to that. So whether it's a retreat where you can learn how to relax and let your hair down, and that rest doesn't equal danger, and that's where we can do that at. I see you shaking your head. Or whether we're trauma processing because life has just went ways that we did not expect, or learning like to be a great leader. I can show up as my full self. I can be authentic to build my brand and things like that. Attracting the right ideal customer by using some of my natural humor and things like that. So when I think about what are you getting, it's a couple different areas, but hopefully you get what you need.
No, that's interesting. So let's transition a little bit into transitioning. You like how I did that? When it comes to transitioning from the military,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the obstacles that you faced and the challenges that you faced in transitioning? Or was there any? Not everybody has challenges. What was hard about it? And if there wasn't nothing hard about it, what made it good?
I think for me, there was a lot of different aspects like throughout because I had to face grief and trauma. Like that was my reality as I was in too. So so my first contract getting out of the service, I wrote a letter to, I forgot who it went to, but I got placed in the inactive ready reserves so that I could take care of my daughter and just fully focus on her. And then she died a month later. And so that was like, F the military transition. This is hard now because I'm not even thinking about the transition. I'm thinking about losing my kid. And my dad also had stage 4 lung cancer at that time from being a Vietnam vet and being exposed to Agent Orange. All of this is happening. And I called the recruiter and I was like, put me back in because I don't know what else to do. Put me in the reserves. So that was like, it was like not knowing what to do. And so I signed another contract, but the recruiter didn't do what he was supposed to do. I said, I don't want to be a culinary specialist anymore. I want something I could use when I get out of the military, put me in like HR or something. And he was like, okay, those jobs go by fast. So go ahead and sign. And then when one becomes available, I'll slide you in there. And then he ended up putting me back in as a culinary specialist, exactly like I asked him not to. But then there's the transition of going back in. And then I didn't know he put me back in. So I went to Delaware to go back to college at Delaware State University, moved on campus. And then I get a call from a sergeant like, where you at? You're supposed to be drilling. And I'm thinking somebody's playing on my phone. So I actually hung up on him. And I got this letter. And I was like, oh, I really am supposed to be drilling. Oh my goodness. So I go to Fort Belvoir, where was my new station. And they were like, what are you doing? You haven't been here. And they think I can't get right. And I had to explain myself. And luckily they listened to me and I explained everything. And I didn't have to go back to the unit where I was at, where I experienced like extreme racism. So it was like so many transitions all throughout the whole 9 years that I was in. And then when I finally got out, it was terrible. I submitted a packet 2010 when I tore my shoulder to get out medically. And because of all the stuff at my unit, I had to take out a congressional on them and everything. My packet was lost. And then fast forward to 2017, my packet was found. And then I started to transition out medically. And I was like, it's 2017. I've healed. I've grown. I'm still growing. And now I have to get out. Like, it doesn't seem fair. And so, like, for me, it was more of an injustice that it felt like at that time period. So I'm dealing with all the things. And I decided that, okay, I don't like it. I don't condone it, but I have to accept what it is. And that's what freed me to be able to create something else and still work with the military outside of the military, if that makes sense.
It does.
Mhm.
So in order to get that title doctor, that's a lot of school. So were you going to school in between the time that you were in the military, or did you wait till you got out?
My goodness.
How did that
So
work?
yeah, that was a whole journey as well. Like I started school and I changed schools and changed majors and all that stuff. And by the time I got to Delaware State, I had figured out I like psychology and the brain. And then I figured I would go further. And then when I got my bachelor's degree, I was like, okay, I can't make much of a difference with the bachelor's degree. I actually need a master's to make the impact that I want to make. And then COVID happened and I was working at the military hospital and I had to be there every day. I was now an essential employee. So I was like, now what? Like the world has stopped. I'm not doing too much with life right now besides working. And they told me it would take 3 more years to get the doctorate if I kept going. I said, nobody in my family has a doctorate. Like I'm a researcher anyway. Let's do this. And so I continued on that path. But it was a lot of years that it took to get there, more than 7.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Crushing it. Crushing it.
Thank
So
you.
united we serve, united we heal. Tell us about it.
United We Serve, United We Heal is about racial trauma. And I tell my story. So I actually wrote Holding Space, which was my first kind of like memoir type of book. And I talked about how to thrive after tremendous loss. And through that book, I learned, wait, there's another story here. And so I wrote United We Serve, United We Heal, because what I realized from talking to different people of color, that they have stories too about how they were mistreated or treated differently. And so I just started to kind of like listen to all the different stories, like from Montford Point Marines to Buffalo Soldiers, the Harlem Hellfighters, and all the like history of like how we were desegregated and all the stuff. And I was like, dang, that's still happening when I was in the service. And I know my dad being Vietnam, my granddad being World War II, I can only imagine what it was like for them. So I decided that there needs to be a guide in how we get through these things. And so I use my story because only I can tell that. And then I embedded psychology in it so that as you're reading it and you realize that maybe some things have happened to you too, here's how we continue to move forward. So what I don't want is for another person to feel stuck in that. I want us to keep growing through it.
You've had a lot going on in the military. As a entrepreneur now, you still got a lot going on. What are some key lessons that you learned from your military experience and your experience as an entrepreneur that you could share to the listeners right now that probably could change the trajectory of their life, essentially?
Yeah, I think like one of the things I still repeat sometimes is embrace the suck, because things are going to suck sometimes. But if we look at it differently, sometimes that's how we move through it. So the expectation is not for it to be sunshine and roses all the time. It's like when it sucks, what do we do? Let's lean into that. Let's figure it out. We need stress to a certain extent to make those changes. And so rather than thinking, oh my gosh, I'm stressed out, like I need to quit, I'm not doing it right or whatever. No, embrace the stress that you have it, and then figure out why you have it. And then what is the next step? Because we all don't come from the same place. So if you don't come from a place where there's entrepreneurs like leading the way and you're trying to figure this thing out, we start whatever business we want to start in the beginning. And then usually we realize that, I can't keep operating in this way and I need to change some stuff. So it's all about like embracing the whole thing and not expecting it to be easy. And I think that's something that I learned joining the military. No one's coming to save me. I have to get through this, and I have to get through this in the best way that I possibly can. And of course, one of the Army values is personal courage. So I have to, have that in order to keep moving forward. So I guess I still embrace those values.
Yeah, that's real. I love it. That's real.
Now, those values are what keeps us together. You said a couple of things that really struck me. Embracing the suck. People see, before we even got started on here, they see what you post, which are the good things, but they don't realize behind your title it wasn't easy. It was 7 years of hard work, 8 or more, right? Of hard work where you couldn't go out with the girls, you couldn't do anything until you could, but then you're taking a chance of it stopping you from being where you are right now.
And not everybody gets that either. I remember missing out, specifically wanting to go hang out on 4th of July, the cookout and everything. But I had this thing that I had to do and it had to be turned in. And I was like, dang, I can't come. And also not only that, but like working full time while doing a doctorate degree. So it's like I couldn't do the schoolwork because I had to work. And then when I can't come to the cookout, everybody's, come on, you can make it. Just come for a little bit. And I'm like, no, y'all don't get it. Like, I really can't come for a little bit because this won't get done. And then I'll fall behind. And you can't do that in this program. Having people not understand that part of it too, the sacrifice that we have to make to get to that finish line.
When you go back home, how many people in your neighborhood have the title doctor, and how many people are still in the same place where you left them?
Yeah, I don't know anybody that has that title. And yeah, that's the experience. There's not a lot of movement. Yeah, I will say that I'm sure everyone does the best that they can. So that's not to take away from anybody's experience, but I feel like if I had never left, that there might be the same experience for myself where I didn't leave or do anything different. And I think that the military, I can thank for that because it takes you out of your comfort zone and you do something different that you've never done before. And so that takes the fear out of doing something that you've never done before. So like now as an entrepreneur, you're doing things that you've never done before and you just keep going through that.
I love that. I love that because statistically, only 8% of people will make a change with new information. And so you're a part of a very small group of people who have consistently just been making changes and going about your life. Like one of the biggest things is, I think this is more so a note to all of the entrepreneurs, especially those that are professionals. One of the things they should note is because a lot of times people, and I see it with entrepreneurs all the time, I don't want to charge that much because I don't think what I'm doing is worth that. But for me, like when I'm charging you and I'm charging you a premium price, and not to say I'm trying to crack you over the head, but I'm not charging you for this hour. I'm charging you for the 20 years of grind and grit that I had to put into this. I'm charging you for the hour that I'm going to be away from my wife and my kids. Like my time is valuable. So as entrepreneurs, don't look at the competitive price, but you really have to put a price on your time because that's something that you're not going to get back, especially that you've already given so much time into your profession. You have to take advantage of that. But I say that to say kudos to you and charging for that time.
Yeah, I feel like you just poured into me because I think I'm still learning that. I think that I say yes to opportunities sometimes and later on, I'm like, that really wasn't worth like the time that I invested into that. And so if you don't value your time, then who will? And no, it's the discernment here of, is this beneficial to me and to you to where we both benefit rather than just one or one side or the other.
Absolutely.
And so it's a way of thinking that changes.
Absolutely. I can be on here all day because that's another piece of this is all money isn't good money. And so I am really particular about the people that I take on. Number one, because some people are hard to work with. But the other piece to this is if I am building a brand and the customer becomes a part of that brand because they're the ones that give the 1 to 5 star review, but also they're the output of what it is that you do, right? So if you can't see quality and growth in something that you're putting your time into, like it ain't good money because now you're wasting their time. They're probably going to give you bad reviews. And then on top of that, people are going to look at them and was like, yeah, he worked with Rob. No, he didn't.
It's funny you say that because I'm really particular about who is a part of Veterans Growing America and who we promote within the community because we're building a brand and we're sharing a brand with so many different entrepreneurs.
100%.
And it's hard to discern immediately, but like even when someone comes in our space and they don't fit the values that we have, I immediately be like, yeah, this is not a place for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wanna thank you for Dr. Jordan for being a part of Veterans Growing America and utilizing the community and jumping right in immediately The first time she showed up to Veterans Growing America, she was like, how could I be down? What could I do? How could I play a part? And we've had to sit down face to face and really talk about it. And we're going to have her a part of our suicide prevention at Veterans Growing America in several different ways, not just at this Veterans Connect. So tell people about why community is important when it comes to entrepreneurship.
That's super important. The first time I came to Veterans Growing America was already it was very warm. I felt like this is a good place to be, and just like connecting with all the other veteran service organizations and things like that was like, yes, this is the right way to spend my time. We just talk about how to spend our time, but I think like you need that. One of the things I talk about in my book about like the mistrust that happens, like sometimes when you go through like betrayal and stuff like that, you tend to isolate because that's what feels safe, or you think that you have to do everything by yourself because you haven't had very much support. But that's not true in business. You need other people. You cannot do it by yourself. So now the mission is, where we talk about mental health, the mission is to heal so that you can be able to create that community. You can't stay stuck there. You need that community. So what is it that you need to do to be able to trust and be able to at least try to create something different? And you need other people to do that. We'll never get as far as we can by ourselves that we can with other people. Other people will take us way further. And our team that we build and networking and all of that is necessary.
That's huge. And I found myself when I first started, I was by myself, and there was trauma behind that because I couldn't do it all and I wasn't good at it all. And so I had to find people that were good at stuff that I wasn't good at. And when I tried to do it all, I couldn't. And so we started bringing people on and utilizing their expertise to grow what we're doing. Like this podcast, I couldn't do this podcast. Rob is an integral part of this podcast, and he was an expert that I enlisted to be a part of the organization. And the dude is absolutely amazing.
Love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel comfortable being on here because I feel like somebody has my back, right? When it comes to podcasts. And I get to say that we're on several different platforms because of Rob, who plays a huge role in putting us out there. So I want to give him his flowers while he's here. And then I would be able to showcase people like you that's doing amazing work within our community where people need to heal from their trauma, because if they don't, I've seen people, grown men, grown women, turn into 5-year-old kids when they're faced with the trauma that they didn't address.
Absolutely. Yep. I see it every day, and I help facilitate the growth. But the one, like, thinking about Army basic training, like, your battle buddy better be with you at all times, like the latrine child. And if you don't know where your battle buddy's at, they gonna ask you, where's your battle buddy? Better know, right? Why, when we get out, do we think that we got to do it by ourselves?
Ooh.
Like talking about community, I was like, dang, I was thinking about that. And I advised myself. I was like, okay, why do you think you got to do this by yourself? It's not true. And actually, you get further when you do and find some good help, right? We might have to try a couple first, but eventually we will figure it out. We will have the team that really takes us to that next step. It feels better and you feel supported. It's a great thing, but to get to that is hard. So I'm sure that you've been through your share of things to find the right people too.
I just love that though, because that's like an eye opener. So I asked all of the VGAers, the listeners right now, especially the entrepreneurs, where's your battle buddy? Where's your battle buddy?
Yeah, where's your battle? That's a new thing. Where's your battle?
Yeah. They'll make it do like my old drill sergeant. You'd be like, hey, you, where's your battle buddy? Where's your battle buddy?
Exactly. Yeah. And you better know where they at too.
Exactly.
You know? So I started to adapt that. And when I ask people that, most military service members, they get it. They get it to a deeper level because they have tried to do or handle life's hardest battles, mental health, by themselves. And it's like, why are you doing that? Come see me. Let me help you. You don't have to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm in a mastermind group with Eric Thomas, and he took it to another level. He was like, if you're trying to take your business to the next level, where's your starting five? If you're trying to take it to the next level, where's your 5? And so if you don't have your 5, you need to find your 5. And so that's going to be my next question to you the next time we meet is where's your 5?
Yeah, that's pretty cool because I had a conversation with Demayas, and that was part of what was said in the conversation is, hey, where's your 5? And I'm like, I'm slipping.
I know I'm one of them.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. And it's funny enough, man, I still remember the conversation right after I interviewed you, and then we did the podcast, and then I was just like, I don't know, it wasn't even something that was on my mind. It was just something that was on my heart, though. That I was just like, VG, I got a podcast. You're like, no, want to do one? Yeah, bet. And that's how it happened. And we've been rocking for 50 episodes since, 50 plus episodes, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love when somebody makes it easy to work with them. It doesn't have to be as difficult as we make it sometimes. Like sometimes it can be that simple as, hey, do y'all have this? Oh, I could do this. Let's do it. And you made it happen. So that's cool.
That's it. Just got to plug in.
Ask Ariel, I'm going to ask you another question. Who got your 6?
And then you talk about trauma, like leading you there and stuff like that. And I was like working through my own stuff. It was a coach that I met through Patriot Boot Camp that DAV does. And he was like pouring into me so much. It was actually hard to handle at first because I was like, wait, what's your angle? Like, no angle. I'm a coach. I help people. Like, this is what I do. But I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, this is very nice. And this is what was missing to help connect some of those dots. Going back to we need people. Absolutely. 100%. Who's got your 6?
I love it. Hey, before we get out of here, I want to just give you the mic and give you some fun. If you have any final thoughts for the viewers and listeners, I love for you to share.
Yeah, I think we really hit it. All the things, entrepreneur, not doing it by yourself or not even feeling like you have to, like finding your people. I like that starting 5 because I hadn't thought about it that way. But yeah, having that, knowing that you don't have to come from money, you don't have to come from a long line of entrepreneurs to get out there and just try it, do it, figure it out as you go, build the plane while you flying it.
Mm-hmm.
But also just know we have to make it exist first, and then we can make it better as we go. So I think just to encourage people to, if they're wanting to do that, know that it's hard, but also know that it's doable and that you can continue to make it better as you go, whatever that business is.
It's fire. That's fire. So 2 things. How can people get a hold of you, and then how can they get a hold of your books?
Okay, so everything is under one link, and it's bio.ariellenjordan.com. And so there it has all my socials. It has all of my books. It has previous podcast episodes, like pretty much anything that you can think of that you would want to know about me is under that link. And then if my email's there too, if that's not enough, they can email me too.
So I'm going to throw it back to you before I answer that question, because I think the time that we're in right now, they're going to need your help. And so tell people how they can get in touch with Coach RL, and then we'll talk about BG.
I love that. I love that. So people can get in touch with me by going to yourmoneygoat.com. I would love to just sit down with you and see where you are and build a small blueprint from you, and we can grow from there. I love that.
Outstanding. I had to throw it back.
That alley-oop.
Alley-oop.
Say, hey, I ain't hard to find. Yourmoneygoat.com. YOUR moneygoat.com. I am there, and I will love to sit down and talk you through it. And then we can go short term and long term. But that's what it's about, is just helping people.
I love that. And so how do people find VGA? Very simple. Veterans Growing America everywhere on all social media platforms, with the exception of TikTok. You could also find us on our website at veteransgrowingamerica.com. I do implore everybody that within the sound of my voice to go to our website and go to our directory. That way you can find individuals like these 2 individuals, because we want you to do business with veteran entrepreneurs. I hear people say thank you for your service all the time. Unfortunately, we can't eat that. But what you can do is patronize our business. And if you don't patronize our business, share our business with someone else that needs our service. And stop by our store in Woodbridge, Virginia, or Clarksburg, Maryland, and shop, baby.
Ariel, thank you so much. Dr. Jordan, we truly appreciate it. And thank you for just dropping gems, and thanks for stopping by.
Yes, thank you for having me. And thank you for all the wonderful things that you both do for the veteran community and for entrepreneurs. It's very honored to be your guest this evening.
Thank you. Definitely our pleasure.
This is a great show.
I love it. We are over and out.